High-value men are often seen as the epitome of success. Independent, confident, and purpose-driven. They don't just exist in the world, they make things happen. But what happens when these men get into relationships? What's the number one mistake that women make with them? It's easy to think that high-value men are only interested in looks, charm, or superficial attractions. But that's not the whole picture. While attraction does matter, it's much deeper than that. What truly holds the attention of a high-value man? What makes a woman stand out to him, not just for the short term, but for the long haul? In this video, we'll explore the biggest mistake women make when they try to build relationships with high-value men. And we'll use Stoic philosophy to understand the mindset that will not only help you avoid this mistake, but help you elevate your own value and attract the right kind of man. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about understanding the core principles that drive meaningful connections. Let's start with the first mistake: seeking validation. Women often believe that if a high-value man acknowledges them, validates their worth, or showers them with compliments, that somehow confirms their value. This desire for external validation is rooted in a need for external affirmation, a cycle that traps many women. Think about it. High-value men are already confident. They've achieved their status and self-worth through their own efforts. They don't need anyone to validate them, and they certainly don't need someone to chase their approval. This doesn't mean that compliments aren't appreciated, but when a woman builds her sense of self-worth based on a man's recognition, she's setting herself up for disappointment. High-value men see through this. They understand that true confidence and worth come from within. What can you do? Adopt the Stoic mindset. Self-validation is key. Acknowledge your own worth. Instead of seeking approval from others, create your own internal foundation of strength. This is the kind of woman who attracts a high-value man. Not because she needs him to feel good about herself, but because she is already secure in her own identity. When you value yourself, a high-value man will see that and respect you for it. It's not about making him see your worth. It's about knowing your worth from the inside out. Another big mistake many women make is believing that a high-value man needs fixing. Women often look at high-value men and think, he's great, but if only he could change a few things. Maybe he's not the best at expressing his emotions, or perhaps he works too much. Women try to change things about him, thinking that if they help him improve in these areas, they'll be the reason he becomes even greater. Here's the reality. High-value men don't want to be fixed. They've already worked hard to build their lives, their success, and their identity. They don't need someone to change them. What they want is someone who accepts them for who they are, flaws and all. In Stoicism, one of the most powerful lessons is the dichotomy of control. You can't control the actions of others, especially not someone who's self-sufficient and already set in their ways. Trying to change or fix him is a futile effort. Instead of focusing on how to mold him into someone you think he should be, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. A high-value man is attracted to a woman who recognizes that he is his own person. If you love him as he is. You don't need to change him, and trying to do so will only create friction. It's about appreciating his qualities, his strengths, and yes, even his flaws. It's about understanding that true love doesn't require changing someone. It's about loving them as they are, without strings attached. The fear of losing a high-value man can lead to some of the most destructive behaviors in a relationship. Women often become afraid of being too open, too vulnerable, or too real because they worry it will push him away. The fear of losing him can create an environment of clinginess and desperation. But here's the truth. Fear never leads to a healthy connection. Fear of loss often leads to insecurity, which high-value men can sense from a mile away. When you approach a relationship out of fear, fearing that he'll leave if you show too much vulnerability, you're not building a healthy foundation. High-value men are drawn to strength, confidence, and independence. They don't want a woman who is constantly worried about losing them. They want a woman who can stand on her own, who has her own life, her own passions, and her own sense of purpose. The Stoic way of thinking here is simple but profound. Embrace impermanence. Nothing in life is permanent, not even relationships. Understand that relationships are a gift, not something you can control or force. When you release the fear of loss, you open up the space for a genuine, simple but profound. Embrace impermanence. Nothing in life is permanent, not even relationships. Understand that relationships are a gift, not something you can control or force. When you release the fear of loss, you open up the space for a genuine, authentic connection. Instead of fearing loss, focus on building a relationship based on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. Show him that you can live a full, rich life without depending on him for validation or happiness. When he sees that you're confident and independent, that's when he will respect you. And ironically, that's when he will want to stay. Trying to control a high-value man is not just ineffective, it's damaging. High-value men have built their lives on their own terms. They've set their own rules, and they've learned to navigate the world according to their own values. Trying to control or manipulate them into doing what you want is not only disrespectful, it's a surefire way to push them away. One of the key Stoic principles is that we should focus only on what we can control. You can control your actions, your choices, and your reactions, but you cannot control others. Trying to control someone is an attempt to undermine their autonomy and their self-worth, and it's something that high-value men will not tolerate. A high-value man wants a partner who respects his autonomy, who trusts him to make his own decisions. If you try to control him, you're not respecting that autonomy. Instead of trying to control the relationship, focus on controlling your own behavior. Show him trust, respect, and freedom, and he will reciprocate in kind. A common mistake women make in relationships is focusing too much on themselves, their needs, their desires, their wants, without considering the needs of the high-value man in their life. Relationships are not about one person getting all of their needs met. They're about balance and mutual respect. Women who constantly talk about their own problems, needs, and emotions without giving their partner the same space to express himself will eventually drive the high-value man away. He doesn't want to feel like he's in a one-sided relationship. He wants a partner who is attuned to his needs, who listens and who cares about his well-being just as much as she cares about her own. Stoicism teaches us that mutual respect and empathy are crucial for healthy relationships. A relationship should be a partnership, not a competition. It's about give and take. When both partners focus on each other's needs and when both are willing to listen, understand, and support each other, that's when the connection truly thrives. Finally, let's talk about the myth of perfection. Many women, especially when they're trying to win over a high-value man, will go to great lengths to present a perfect version of themselves. They'll hide their flaws, play up their strengths, and try to fit an ideal mold that they think will attract him. But here's the thing. High-value men are not looking for perfection. They're looking for authenticity. They're looking for someone who is real, who isn't afraid to show their true self. When you try to be perfect, you're not being authentic, and authenticity is far more attractive than perfection. Stoicism teaches us to accept our imperfections and to embrace who we are. The pursuit of perfection is an endless, futile chase. Instead of trying to be flawless, focus on being authentic, vulnerable, and true to yourself. A high-value man will appreciate your realness far more than an idealized version of you. So, what's the key to attracting and maintaining a relationship with a high-value man? It's not about tricks, manipulation, or trying to win him over. It's about understanding the Stoic principles of self-validation, acceptance, and respect. It's about being a strong, independent woman who knows her own worth, who respects his autonomy, and who understands that love and relationships are about mutual growth and support. By adopting the Stoic mindset, by focusing on what you can control, by embracing impermanence, and by being authentic, you will attract the right kind of man. And more importantly, you will build a relationship that's grounded in respect, understanding, and shared purpose. So ask yourself, how can you become the best version of yourself today? How can you embrace your own worth and let go of the need for validation from others? When you start answering these questions, you'll be well on your way to creating the kind of lasting relationship that a high-value man truly wants.